All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for today, Tuesday, March 14th, 2023. My name is Bill Soroka, founder of notarycoach.com and author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. I'm here with my awesome co-hosts. There's actually four of us today. The first is Laura Biewer. I'm going to let her introduce herself as soon as she gets logged in and ready. She's running a little bit late today. And then we have two special guests, the first of which is Judy Lawrence, known as Queen of the Apostilles, from the Lawrence Institute for Notaries. Judy, thanks for being here. Would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself?
I sure would. Most of you know me. I'm Judy Lawrence from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. And although I do a lot of special notary work and all kinds of other notary work, I specialize in apostilles and teach apostilles, and really that is that's my passion, and I love sharing it with all of you. I am an NNA ambassador, and Thursday I can add to my resume that I will be a Toastmaster.
Awesome. Perfect segue too, Judy. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your time with us. I truly appreciate it. Guys, if you have questions about apostilles, this is a great opportunity to talk to Judy, to Matt, and to Laura, all three experts in the apostille process. Also, Judy has a physical location in Philadelphia, in Philly. So if you have questions about what that looks like to have a physical location, to have employees, this would be a great time to offer those type of questions as well. Our other special guest is Matt Miller, founder of California League of Independent Notaries. He'll be here in about 15 minutes. I'll bring him up and he can introduce himself as well. I'll put links to everybody in the chat. Speaking of the chat, it's a great opportunity for you guys to connect with each other. We got notaries from across the country. So if you're looking for a support system or you're looking to expand your network, connect with each other in that chat. Also offer your perspective as you hear questions that come up. Feel free to blow up that chat with solutions you found or your own strategies. And just right on cue, Laura Biewer, welcome. I'm so glad you made it. Would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Hi, guys. It's possible that somebody doesn't know me. I'm Laura Biewer, and I am the founder of Coach Me Laura, with a mission to help develop confident and competent notaries. And I am so excited to be here today.
Thank you so much, Laura. I'm going to post Laura's website to Coach Me Laura in the chat as well. Tons of resources there for you at coachmelaura.com. All right, so the way TNT works, this is your time to have all of your questions answered by experts in their fields. The best way for this to work efficiently is to use the raise hand feature in Zoom. If you don't know where that is, right now, if you're hovering over my face with your mouse, there's a little toolbar that's opened up along the bottom of the screen. Just select reactions and then select the raise hand button. Now that could vary depending on your device. If that's the case and you can't find it, just type in the chat. We have an amazing group of 87 notaries across the country right now that can probably guide you through it. I want to say again, since we have some more people on the call, this is a great time to ask your apostille questions, not just about the process, but about how to get customers. What's it all about? Whether you can do it in your state. You've got Laura, Judy, and Matt that are experts in that field. In fact, Judy and Matt have written a book on it. You can go to allaboutapostilles.com. I'll post that link in the chat as well and get a copy of that book that will guide you through the process. And of course, Laura and I bring our own level of expertise to this conversation. So this is a perfect time to get all of those questions answered. Let's dive in. And since Delcy has been so patient, Delcy in New York, thank you. How can we help today? But don't forget to unmute. She's probably on the phone. I'll give her a few extra seconds. Delcy, we'll come back to you. Patricia is trying to share her screen again. I'm going to stop that there, Patricia. Great shot, though. Delcy, we'll come back to you. Larry, Great to see you in California. How can we help today?
Hey everyone. Hey Bill. Great shirt, by the way, Bill.
Thanks.
I have a question about digital stamp. I renewed my commission recently, and along with getting a regular stamp, I asked them. I purchased an e-stamp, but the e-stamp that they gave me is rectangular. But the stamp that I prefer to use, the stamp that I usually use, is round. So I want to be consistent. So I'm just sort of asking for advice because I got the extra manufacturer certificate so I can have a new one done, but I haven't been able to find anywhere besides NNA that has e-stamp that I can tell them that I especially want a round one. And I'm wondering, couldn't I just scan in a stamp, do a scan of the stamp I already have? I would think not. I would think there's probably some kind of rules or measurement, but like, why couldn't I do that? Especially
Great
because I've
question.
already purchased one.
Yeah. All right, Larry. Great question. I'm going to bounce that right over to Laura in California herself. Laura, what do you think about this?
Yeah, no, you can't do that, Larry. The manufacturer has to create the image on the certificate of authorization before they send it back to the Secretary of State. So there's a process in place behind the scenes that would be circumvented if you tried to do it for yourself. And if you don't find anybody that has a circular stamp, you're going to have to live with a rectangular one. That's just how it is.
Leave it to Laura to tell you exactly how it is, Larry, right? All right. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. All right. Delcy, are you ready for us yet? You found that unmute button yet? Okay, no problem. We'll keep you up there. Hey, Dan, how's it going? Welcome in Portland, or I'm sorry, in Oregon.
Portland's good. Hey, I'm just calling to remind everybody about the Notary Masters Toastmasters open house tomorrow, which is at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, going for about an hour and 15 minutes. Our theme is get the word out. It's all about marketing, and myself and Jennifer Neithel and Jeff Clark are going to be our guest speakers this week. And it's going to be really cool. It's actually, we asked about an open house back in December, and the membership came back and said, we want marketing. So we called two of the best and me. Also, it'll be our illustrious host and Toastmaster for that meeting will be Judy Lawrence. And so we're really looking forward to having a good meeting tomorrow. We have room in our Zoom session for 100. So hopefully we'll max it out. And we're also looking for people to join Notary Masters. We're in the middle of a membership drive right now and hoping to get some new members from Notary Masters. So I wanted to reach out for Notary Masters. My question this week is pretty long and drawn out. So I'm going to save that for one of your office hours, I think, Bill. We can have a nice discussion. But I do wanted to bring out a word for Notary Masters, and we're looking forward to having a really big session tomorrow. It's going to be we're going to tackle marketing from three different angles, and hopefully people can it'll last about an hour and 15 minutes. Really looking forward to having people there tomorrow. 9:30 Pacific. We're going to have the session open at 9, and it'll remain open until 11. So there'll be some time for some networking and just kind of general chit chat on just about anything people want to talk about. So Notary Masters, Toastmasters tomorrow.
I have a question, Daniel.
Yes.
Daniel, isn't it Thursday?
It's Thursday. Like I said, it was Thursday. Like I said, not tomorrow, because if you go tomorrow, nobody's going to be there. It'll be on Thursday.
I was worried that I wasn't going to be there.
It'll
Okay.
be tomorrow. If it was tomorrow, then it would be tomorrow for tomorrow, which would be Thursday. But yes, it will be on Thursday.
The tomorrow after
Thursday,
the tomorrow.
Yes.
All right.
2/16, the 16th of February or March.
Okay, cool.
16th of March on Thursday, 9:30. So I'm hoping people will be here. And Judy's she's all ready to go. We've got it's going to be a fun meeting, and it's going to be just a fun time. I hope people will join, and then I hope people will join the club. We're in the middle of a kind of a membership drive here, and hoping to get a few more members to go to as well. So I will see everybody on Thursday morning. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. I did post the link to Notary Masters in the chats, notarymasters.org. Also, if you downloaded the Tom app, remember that's now free in 23. And it's kind of perfect timing because it's all about tell everyone about your business. And that's exactly what this topic is going to be. But on the Tom app, I just made the Toastmasters group event available to everybody on the app. So it's not just NBB members for that one, because that's an open event. So if you have that app, you'll get a push notification just before the event as well. And you can see all the details and get yourself registered for that as well. If you're interested in the Tom app, like I said, it's totally free. We built a whole pipeline to help you tell everyone about your business. Check it out at notarycoach.com. Delcy, are you ready for us yet? Not yet. Henry Felder, also in New York. Henry, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Bill, Judy, Laura? This question is for Laura.
Okay.
I have my commission that expires April 15th of 2023. I renewed it January of 2023. I still haven't received a card back from the Secretary of State, but I have the receipt that the county clerk stamped and notarized for me. And it lists the effective date and the expiration date, which will be April 15th, 2027. Is this enough for me to order a new stamp from NNA?
Well, actually, you would have to ask the NNA that directly. I don't know if you have a certificate requirement like some other states have. I don't know that off the top of my head. If you have some kind of authorization certificate from the Secretary of State, then you got to wait for it. If you don't, then the NNA might make it from the information that you have.
Okay, so I'll reach out to them
Mm-hmm.
and just let them know I have a copy of the notarization from Secretary of State. And I guess I just had to go from there. They gave me a printout of the registration number, and it's showing the new expiration date of 2027.
Okay.
I was just wondering if they're going to force me to have the actual card from the Secretary of State.
Just
Right.
depends on what the law is in New York.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Henry. And I see that Matt Miller came in, so I'm going to let him come up and introduce himself as well. Matt, thank you so much for popping in with us.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your patience. Sorry for my tardiness today. My name is Matt Miller, president of the California League of Independent Notaries. And for those who are unfamiliar with the league, we are an advocacy group that strives to make your voice heard on policy decisions that affect you and your business. And I am happy to be here today to help answer questions from you.
Awesome. And I'm typing an abbreviated version of the name and the link in there. It's calnotaries.org if you want to check that out. And it is open to notaries across the country. You don't have to be in California for it. They do great advocacy work there, and it's got a great directory too. So if you're looking to boost your online visibility, being a member of CLIN also gets you some great visibility through their directory as well. Delcy, are you ready for us? All right, Delcy. I'll leave you up there. Michelle James, thank you so much for being here. What state are you in and how can we help?
Hi there, I'm from Florida.
All right.
Although I don't sound Floridian. So my question is regarding the Tom. I've signed up for the app and I was going through it and I was going through some of the training. So the question is, it's regarding the apostille training. I was only able to access one. Do I have to purchase that training to get all the rest of it?
It depends. Tom itself does not have access to the apostille training. It's only available for NBB members. So if you are you an NBB member, Michelle?
No, and that's what I was asking, because I was able to, I went through the first module or the first lesson. So I was just wondering, and then when I wanted to go to the next one, I couldn't get further access. I thought maybe I needed to be a member of the other club.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. The courses that we have for MBB are exclusive to MBB. So you can upgrade and have full access to that plus 12 other online courses and the live teaching calls as well. So we just converted to a new coaching platform through Tom. So you'll just see little snippets of the actual course, but then to actually have full access, it's going to require the upgrade.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for being here. And thanks for downloading, Tom.
No worries. Thank you.
All right. Guys, this is a perfect time to ask those deep questions about how to get more customers in your apostille business, in your notary business, in your loan signing business. You have questions about your online visibility, maybe cultivating relationships and who to build those relationships with. This is the host crowd you want to talk to. We've got Judy, Matt Miller, Laura Biewer, and myself. So let's bring those questions. Delcy, you ready for us yet? I think.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. Hey, Delcy.
Hi.
Well, how can we help
Okay,
today?
so I have three. I'm Delcy from New York, everyone. Hello. And thank you guys always for all this amazing work that you do. I have three just rapid fire questions, mostly like your opinion on how to do things. The first thing is with the time blocking, I'm trying to figure out what would be the best way. I'm trying to like get my schedule and my life organized with my business. And I know you guys often reference time blocking. My dilemma is if I decided to say like for 3 hours on a Monday, I would tend to my business. What happens if I get like a signing for that time? Do I just say, okay, I'm not going to do the signing because I'm blocked for specific activities during this time? Or do I, move the time based on what happens with orders? Because right now, 90% of my business is still coming from signing services. So I get the notifications, last minute.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the great challenges that we have in this business. So I'll give a little bit of insight on my philosophy and my strategy for that. And then I'd love to hear from some of our other hosts as well. So the first thing to remember is this could be different for every single person on this call. It depends on what your priority is. For most that are in business, making money is probably a pretty important factor. So if that is the priority for you, then you've got to take that money, take those opportunities when it comes. So you got to be super flexible. And this is where it comes to space and grace. Yeah, I have 3 hours that I'm blocking out to do this type of marketing, but I've also got to take appointments. So you renegotiate with yourself. All right, well, I cut into 2 hours of my time. I'm going to reschedule that time later in the week. That's important to reschedule it. To be easy on yourself, because what happens is you'll take the appointment and then you'll forget about that 3 hours of marketing or relationship cultivation that you're going to do, and then it never gets done, and suddenly the phones go quiet and you're in this desperate situation. So you've got to reschedule it. But the other real important thing that worked for me is that as I was in like full hustle mode, taking these appointments, sometimes 12, 13 a day, that phone started ringing at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it didn't stop until sometimes 6 or 7 o'clock at night. So if I wanted to move my business forward, if I wanted to cultivate relationships with new customers, if I wanted to write a book, if I wanted to build an online course, if I wanted to explore other opportunities, that had to happen before the phone started ringing. Because the reality of my life was I had to start making money, but I also have high hopes and dreams, right? So I want to build this dream, then I have to wake up early. And I have to work weekends too. So that's why I started waking up at, ridiculous times of the day at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That was quiet time. The house is quiet, the phone's quiet, and that's when I can focus on that's working on the business, not working in the business time, right? So that's what worked for me. Matt, you want to take a stab at this too? How do you balance this?
Very much the same way. I put blocks of time on my calendar, certain days of the week and certain days of the month, where I am going to do specific marketing activities. And I try to rotate them monthly so that I am constantly reaching out to my current customer list. I am doing something to reach new prospective customers every month. I am constantly trying to revive old customers that maybe haven't been in contact for a long time. But it's like everything else. If you don't put it on your calendar, you're probably not going to get around to it. So your calendar in this instance can be your best friend when it comes to actually prompting yourself to get it done. And as far as what I do, well, I do send out emails. I send out cards, thank you cards, if I'm developing a new relationship. I will make myself available for example, if I'm working with a new startup or a law firm that's getting into a new area of business that I can help with, or any firm for that matter, I will hold like a Zoom in service with the admins or the secretaries or whomever, the not the legislative council, but the general counsel's office, to anything to try and stay on top of mind with your prospective customer, you should consider doing. Also, and when it comes to prospecting for new clients, go to events in your area. There are Better Business Bureau events if you're a member. There's also I'm trying to remember specific names of these things because they're all called something different. The Small Business Administration has events regularly in most all areas. And then try to get invited by escrow officers, real estate agents, and others to their more industry-specific events, because sometimes they're looking for speakers to talk about topics that maybe they deal with regularly, but they don't have an expert on staff to give a talk. So try to get yourself in the door by offering some sort of value, right? We're not just going to go in there and regurgitate everything about us and what we do on them. We want to give them some sort of value. And that can be as easily as telling them how to get access to apostilles, or what it is, or why it's needed. Or sometimes it can be as in-depth as telling nurses and hospital administrators the ins and outs of notarization in your state and why they have to do these certain kind of things to get it done. So that's what I do. I hope that helps.
Yes, that helps a lot. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
taking that to another level, Matt, too, on the actual activities that you do. That's very helpful. And I know Laura's super passionate about this too. Laura, any suggestions you have for Delcy?
I think you and Matt have both hit on how I do it. I do have one other element, and that is I farm out the work. If I've decided the priority is to stay focused on what I'm working on, then I farm out that work to other notaries who are in need of jobs. So I have a network, and some people have networks and they share money. Mine doesn't work that way, but others do, and that might be another option.
Okay.
Suggestion. And then Delcy, the only way that I would want to round that out too is the time that you do schedule. If you block out a 3-hour window, whatever that time period is blocked for, get super specific about the activities you're going to do in that 3-hour block. And a 3-hour block is a huge amount of time to work on business, by the way. So sometimes it's only 45 minutes, sometimes it's only 30 minutes, and that's okay, because that level of focused effort can sometimes be way more productive than a 3-hour time block. So if you're going to put it on your calendar, tell yourself in your calendar appointment exactly what you're going to be doing during that time frame. I'm going to reach out to 6 different attorneys from this list, and here's what I want to say. Something super, because if you sit down in front of your computer and say, oh, I have 3 hours to work on my business, you're going to be on Facebook in no time. You're going to it's going to fall into those holes that way. So try to make it as focused as possible when you're there.
Okay.
Helpful?
Yes, very. Thank you.
Awesome. Judy, do you have anything that you would suggest for carving out time?
Well, I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that, but I have been really trying very hard to take a page out of Bill's book, which is to, if you will, carve out some time to speak to people, but speak to them on a specific subject. So instead of calling someone and saying, oh, I have 13 things to talk about, sometimes I have found, and again, this is a page out of Bill's book, it's better to say on Tuesday, we'll talk about this project, but next week we'll talk about a different project. And so that has helped me personally to be better prepared for the call, to have the research and the notes ready that I might need for the call. And it is an area that I am trying to grow in and be better. So anybody that tells you it's easy, it isn't, especially when you're busy and the person you want to talk to is busy. Sometimes if you lock it in to one or two subjects, I think, like somebody said, I'm going to call 6 lawyers and see if I can get new business, is different than what Bill said. I'm just going to sit here and try to market my business, So zooming it in on what you really want to do and what you really want to do that day, I think is helpful.
Okay.
Awesome, Judy. Thank you so much. And Delcy, I'm glad that you asked this question because it's not really rapid fire. You can see, right? Like this is the key to your success, is figuring this out. And it is going to be different for everybody as you progress. But the one thing that has helped me too is the daily big 3. I got this from the Full Focus Planner, Michael Hyatt company. But if you could each day just choose 3 things that could advance you forward on your dream or your goal, and just have that clarity that those 3 things have to get done, and then block the time for those 3 things, if that's what it turned out to be, then you'd be way ahead of most people. Most people start with the small little pebbles that have to get done. They start with laundry. They start with all the little stuff that seems really easy to do. And they're like, oh, I'm going to do all this because it's so easy to do. I'll get it done. And then they're exhausted by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, family, dinner, errands, all that stuff happens, signings. And then the big stuff, the stuff that matters, that makes a difference and decides whether you're going to get a customer or not, gets pushed down. And then suddenly the phones are quiet.
Okay.
Helpful at all, Delcy?
That was actually amazing.
All right.
Thank you. I took a lot of notes. I was writing fast while you guys were talking, so that's awesome.
Great question. What's next?
The other question is, I'm getting a lot of immigrants, asking for services, and they come with docs that they say notary, like they're coming from foreign countries, and they have a place for a notary seal, and but it doesn't have any kind of notary wording. The challenge is that when I explain to the signer that I have to attach a certificate or put a stamp on it, they say no, that's not how they do it over there. Like they just need someone to, certify their identity and to please use those documents. No matter what I say or how I do it, they're still kind of insisting. And so I was wondering if any of you have a suggestion for how to help them understand the way that the job needs to be done. Like I explained to them that as a New York notary, I have to follow certain rules, and that's the reason why I need to do it this way, and I can't do it the way they want it done in their country.
Sure. So yeah, great question, Delcy. And I see Matt raised his hand on this one too. Matt, what do you say?
Yeah, Delcy, I think you're doing the right thing by trying to educate your customer and help them understand that you have to follow certain statutory rules in the state of New York. I encounter this a lot in California as well, especially when it comes to doing apostille requests. But just last week, I ran into a similar situation with an out-of-state lawyer who had prepared a document and basically just had a line for the notary to sign and stamp and put the date. And I explained to him, I said, in California, we have to use notarial language. Here's the 2 certificates that were most commonly used. Go ahead and choose. And he said, well, we don't need that in Tennessee. And I said, well, I understand the documents going back to Tennessee, but you're in my jurisdiction now, and that is the law here that we must follow. And typically that kind of quells that issue, although sometimes you have to just remain insistent and continue to explain to them, pull out your handbook if need be, read directly from it, and help educate them and explain why we have to do it this way. And if they insist that you use their certificate, then you have to respectfully decline, because it's not if you do it their way versus what you statutorily are required to do, it's not a compliant notarization, and therefore will not hold up in any kind of court of law. And if you submit it for apostille, it will be rejected.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Matt, for that. Judy, Laura, anything that you would add to that part of the conversation?
I have that quite a bit with my walk-in clients, and particularly a lot of times I tell them, they come in and they have a document and it was signed by Mama, and I tell them, but Mama's not here and she has to be here. And I find that you sometimes you just have to, if you say it a couple times and it doesn't work, then you just have to say, well, I have a commission and I have a commission to protect. And like Matt said, this is what my jurisdiction, this is what I have to do. And if not, you and I, we just can't work together. And 95% of the time, if you say it calmly and you don't get upset with them and you try to explain it to them, they go for it. There's still the client that walks out the door and says, well, I'll find another notary. I have a notary down the street and she does it all the time, but she's out sick today. So, that's okay. And maybe she'll be back tomorrow. And, but you have to stick to your guns. You can't do something that is improper and that is wrong. I always say, don't sacrifice your integrity for $1. Don't do it, because another one's going to come afterward and you'll get your dollar. So, when we took the oath, the word that we should focus on a lot is integrity. And we promised that we would uphold our integrity. And integrity means you have to do what you have to do and what your state laws tell you that you have to do.
Okay.
Great point, Judy. I love that. Stand in integrity. And part of integrity, just like Judy was saying, is knowing what you can do and knowing what you cannot do. And I love a venue like this where we can explore that even further. Laura, any closing thoughts on that topic before we move on to Delsey's third question?
The only extra thing is that if it does have to have apostille work, that means the Secretary of State is going to look at that. And that's going to be a reflection on the quality of the work of the notary. So hold your ground, because the customer isn't the one who gets in trouble. It is the notary.
Okay.
Awesome. Great point. Delsey, what's your third question?
My last and final question is in regard to the documents presented, like my local school district. I get a lot of calls to sign off on school paperwork. And again, they have a little area just for the notary to stamp. I'm wondering if I need to be attaching certificates to all of the school documents. I even get stuff from the courts, from the Nassau County courts, that have acknowledgements without the venue and stuff. And I'm like, but these are court documents. Am I really supposed to be altering them?
Great
Not
question.
altering, you're attaching.
I'm going to, we got somebody, I'm going to be on mute, please, here. Who is that? There we go. Got it. Laura, I know this is a favorite topic of yours. You want to answer, Delsey, on this one?
Yeah, you can't even trust your public agencies, whether they're local or federal or state. They give us incomplete notarization language, no notarization language, incorrect notarization language, and it is my job to recognize that and then take care of it appropriately. there's no exception or pass given to agencies to not
or,
do it.
or attorneys or courts or anything.
Nobody.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
it's your responsibility. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Delcy. It's a weird thing to navigate, because even the people that we think know this stuff, creating the documents, passing the laws, or upholding the laws that we have to adhere to, they don't necessarily know what we're expected to do, or the right way to do things.
Okay.
Delcy, great questions. Thanks for bringing them.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Laura. I'm going to bring you up, and I know you have a couple of announcements real quick, since we're at the just about the 40 minutes past the hour.
Thanks so much, Bill. I just want to remind people, and this was the 3 questions I participated in now, that I do have real world training for job performance. So it's not about all the statutes, although some of that's covered. It focuses on real world issues like what was just brought up. And I have done 26 states so far. And so if you want to go to coachmelora.com/real, you can see if your state is there, and it's all about doing the job, right? It's not about becoming a notary and learning all the fines and penalties. It's about, how do I identify? How do I use a journal? How do I fill out these certificates? How do I read them? And then the other thing is, for those of you that are looking at specialty work, Laura Biewer Presents has more than a half a dozen different specialties that you could get more in-depth knowledge on to help you move forward in building another niche that you have not done so far. And finally, I do a free laser coaching call every Saturday. It's called Laura's Inner Circle. And if you just go to my website, use my Calendly app, you can book a Saturday. It's 8 to 9 Pacific time on Saturdays. I purposely keep the number of participants below 20 so that you have time to ask a more in-depth question and for me to give an in-depth answer so nobody feels rushed. So just wanted to make sure I put out there the resources I have for you.
Yeah,
Thanks, Bill.
yeah, thank you so much. I just want to highlight real quick too, because Laura is a huge part and founding member of NBB, which is our Notary Business Builder community. And guys, we built that for people who are fatigued from subscriptions and you just need a lot of value and you're looking for some leadership and help in your business. So NBB is all of that. So let Laura just describe the real world courses. All those replays are included in NBB. Laura Biewer Presents included in NBB, plus so much more, including the Tom app and some of the more advanced pipelines. So I'm going to put that in there. If you're interested in leveling up and you want to be a part of our community, we have lots of NBB members on today's call too. Feel free to ask questions in the chat and we'll get you answered there too. Notarycoach.com/NBB, or just go to notarycoach.com. Everything is right there for you as well. All right, Lisa Duffy, thank you for your patience. You want to come up? What state are you in and how can we help?
Hello, I am in California. Hi, everybody. Hi, Laura. Nice to see you again. My question is for Laura and/or Judy. I had a lady that needed an apostille. It was a power of attorney for the Philippines, and she needed the attorney to, let's see, she needed the, it was for the attorney to be the power of attorney, excuse me, but he was in the Philippines. So is that I'm a little confused. Was that where we would do like a run to have him sign it and then get an apostille to send to him? I'm just a little confused on that.
Judy, I saw you. Did you have an answer for that or further questions?
I'm a little confused by the question. So the woman who contacted you was giving the power of attorney to the man in the Philippines.
Yes.
And the woman who was giving the power of attorney is here in California.
Yes.
Okay, so the document is going to originate in California. So you would get that document apostilled in California. and then she could send it to him in the Philippines. But she's here and she's the one that's giving it. So that makes it that it's going to originate here.
Okay, so she
Well,
signs
it's a
it
good-
here and then sends it to him.
Right, because
Right.
it's always the state of origination. So that's why it was a little bit, I didn't want to give you the wrong answer. But as long as she is here, whatever state she's in, that is where that document would originate, and then it can be sent to the Philippines.
Okay, because she
Does that make
mentioned that,
sense?
yeah, it does. But she mentioned, and maybe she was just a little confused. She mentioned that he needed to sign it, which is what threw me off.
He may have needed to sign it as her agent.
Okay,
So there's a back piece of paper, and I forget the exact, but it's he's
Acceptance
acting
of the
as
appointment.
the appointment of an agent, and he may have needed to sign it. That typically can be done afterward.
after, okay, okay.
I'm pretty sure about that. I'm right about that. Am I right
Okay.
about that, Matt, Laura?
Yeah, so Lisa, the other thing I want to add, and this is good for anybody, whether or not it is apostille, let's just talk about the document, a power of attorney. The principal signer is the person giving the permission, and that's who needs to be in front of you, not necessarily the agent getting appointed. So whether it's a power of attorney or a healthcare directive, it's the principal signer who needs to be with you, not the people they name.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, great question. Great conversation. Thank you, Lisa.
Mhm.
All right. Hey, Phil. Good to see you here.
Great to see everybody. I have my beanie on for a very important reason, because the wrath of the weather in California is mind-boggling right now, guys. I know Laura's shaking her head, but I'm looking at, I was at my neighbor's, the tree, one of their big trees blew down. We have two huge trees, and I'm just worried that they're going to end up on my roof, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that everything works out well. But I want to reach out and thank so many of you who were able to attend our estate planning workshop on Sunday. We had a great event. Great notary, Yolanda Isom, who many of you know from New Jersey, who's also a very prominent registered nurse, was our guest presenter and did an amazing job. Thank you all for being there. And as always, today, 5 minutes after Tuesday, Notary Titans, please join me as I explain to you how you can protect and grow your business, how you can develop additional source of income if that's what you're looking for. But most importantly, let me help the notary community. I love what I do. We're talking about all the meetups and things to that effect. I met Laura 18 plus years ago, I believe at the Modesto Chamber of Commerce is where we met. And that relationship has obviously stood the test of time. For those of you who have BNIs in your area or LTIPs, you don't necessarily have to join the BNIs, but let me suggest that you become a substitute. That's what I do. I don't have the bandwidth to be able to attend them every single week as they want, but you can be a sub. A lot of the people that are looking for sub, and that gives you the opportunity to tell about your business. So take advantage of all the great opportunities. Your net worth is determined by your network, so make sure you take advantage of all that. So hope to see many of you 5 minutes after Tuesday Notary Titans. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Judy.
Thanks, Phil. And I posted the link there where you can join Phil today. But what a great piece of advice too. BNI can be it's Business Networking International. It's one of the most structured and organized networking meetings I've ever attended. It's quite an investment depending on where you're located, but what a great workaround, because they have rules for attendance. So they're constantly looking for substitutes. So if you can fill that role, it's a great way to bridge the gap on there to full membership. Great suggestion, Phil. Thank you so much. Quintus, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute? Tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
All right, thanks, Bill, and everyone that's on the panel. I have a question. I'm not sure if this type of service exists outside of advertising your services on a website like Google My Business. But is there a type of, I don't know, a apostille, sort of like signing service that reaches out to notaries where you can get work if you're, let's say, if you don't necessarily want to advertise your put the word apostille on your Google My Business page, or even if I do put the that I offer that type of service, I'm not, may not necessarily get the leads. So is there like a passive approach to getting the work outside of word of mouth? And I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you, Quintus. What a great question. I love that. And I'll preface it with saying that no matter what, if it's a service you plan to offer, put it on your Google business profile, put it on every profile you have. So there's a higher likelihood that you'll be found. And then, yes, what a great question. So is there signing companies or some version of that in the industry to send apostille work? Judy, what do you say to that?
Well, what we've done for people is we've created a courier service. So we've created a service where I don't know where you are, Quintus, but wherever you are, if someone needed your help, they could contact you. They could arrange for, if you're close to the Secretary of State, they could arrange for you to take the papers over to the Secretary of State and then get them done and get them back to the courier. And that is a way that you can, one, make some extra money, and two, make some extra contacts, make some, develop some relationships, build some relationships with some notaries around you and see where you want to go with it. It's you don't have to take the course. You don't have to do these things. You could now, I don't know, are you located anywhere near where are you located? What state are you from?
I'm located in New York State, in New York City.
Okay, so are you located near a Secretary of State?
No, my understanding, the Secretary of State office is in Syracuse, I believe. And so they may have a federal office in New York City. I'm not sure about that, but my understanding
You know what,
is,
Quintus, reach out to me and I'll try to help you so we don't take up everybody's time.
sure.
But that is a real good way of learning how it goes, learning how you take them up, how you get them filed. That is a real good way of doing it. And then deciding, I like this business or I don't. So that would be my first suggestion, but I leave it to Matt and Laura.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. That's a great suggestion. Matt, what about you? Do you know of any signing companies or hiring, let's call them hiring companies that specialize in apostille work that Quintus could get dialed into?
Not off the top of my mind. No one has really dialed into that as of yet. There are some larger apostille facilitation companies in the DC area, but typically they have their own agents who handle that sort of work. However, as Laura Biewer had mentioned earlier, it's all about, building that network. And, Judy can help with her courier service database. It's all about networking with other notaries across the country, because even though I'm here in California, I often have documents that originated in Pennsylvania, and the first person I'm going to call to handle that would be Judy, and she does the same thing vice versa. So we really have to kind of build our grassroots network to help each other out and send business to one another. So that's what I would recommend. And then in regards to your question about where you can get an apostille in New York, I know, yes, you can get one from your Secretary of State's in the Capitol, but I also think that in downtown Manhattan, there is a satellite office where you can submit apostille requests there as well. But check on that. That's been a number of years ago.
But here's the deal, which I don't want to waste. I don't want to spend this whole time. If you need it quick, it has to go to Albany. And if you need it quick for it to go to Albany, Albany will only do it by appointment. So if let's say you were a bride about to get married, you have to send Albany the receipt for the wedding hall or whatever it is. And if Albany deems it a viable or an emergency or whatever, they will do it. But that is all done by appointment. The rest of it is done in the city, and the rest of it is just not as quick as we might like it to be.
Awesome. Good to know.
Mhm.
All right.
Thank
Thanks.
you. And
Great question.
one last
Yeah, please.
one last question, Bill. With regard to I guess journal entries of notarization, is there an electronic version of it? And if there is an electronic version of the where you put your notarial acts, let's say if you have it set up on your phone, would the signer have to sign, let's say, your phone using a stylus or a pen, or your fingers in order to notate that notarial act? I'm not sure if we're making it quite clear. So let's say if they're like a journal, electronic journal entry, and you're entering the notarial acts, and you know how with the printed journals you have the signer sign the journals.
Oh, yeah.
Is there an electronic version? And if there is, let's say you have them sign it on your phone.
Yeah.
Would they use their stylus or their fingers, or how would they go about signing the journal entry? Or they don't necessarily have to sign the electronic version?
Yeah, what a great question. And so, yes, it'll depend. And Laura, in fact, I'm going to post a link to Laura's website because she uses the Notary e-journal by Jurat. Laura, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So I've been using that electronic journal by Jurat for about a year and a half. And they use a stylus. There's one on Amazon. It's pretty inexpensive. And the one that I like, it's got a little plastic disc at the end of it rather than a point. And it makes it very easy for them to sign. I also have an electronic thumbprinting device where I can collect the thumbprint, because in California, I'm required to do that. And I love using it. It's very easy to use, very intuitive, and accommodates signature by mark, really allows me and more efficiently to build a more robust journal entry without having to take extra time. So yeah, I love it. In New York, you can use one in New York, and if you go to the link that Bill gave you, you can see more information. There is a trial, I believe, a trial period that you can check it out and think about it. I will tell you that I've saved my hands. I thought I would have to retire because I have arthritis in my fingers, and it helped reduce all that writing for me. The second thing is the cool factor is just off the chart. People are shocked and amazed that we have this ability. And they really see me as an elevated notary, one who's invested in tools to do the work electronically. So yeah, that's been great. I highly suggest it.
And may I, Bill, also check
Yes.
your state guidelines, because like in Pennsylvania, we don't have to have it signed. Our journal doesn't require a signature. What I do is I don't get a signature unless there's something about the person that I feel I want to. Just like we don't require a picture. But sometimes somebody comes in and you just feel better if you got that signature, you got that picture. But check your state guidelines, because not every state requires a signature.
Yep, definitely. And journal requirement is new for New York. So this is probably all fresh and new for you, Quintus, right?
No, I use it as a practice to
Good.
use my
Good
journal.
answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Great questions, Quintus. Thank you so much. Guys, I think we're going to have
Thank
time for one
you.
more question, but I also just want to mention that coming up this week on Thursday, completely open to everyone. It's a guest event from my personal financial advisor. He is hosting Danielle Roberts, founding partner of Biewer Benefits. So if you have any questions about Medicare coverage, they're bringing in an expert to talk about this, and it might be for you, but it also might be for people in your network. So if you know people, whether it's your personal network, like your family, your friends, that have some questions about Medicare and what to expect, working past 65, all those confusing questions, you are welcome to join. There is a registration link both here in the chat, but also in Tom. So if you have the Tom app, it's totally free to use at notarycoach.com. You can go to events and you can see that event and get registered for that and invite anybody in your network that you think would find value in talking about Medicare and understanding the ins and outs of the Medicare experience. Terry May, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Yeah, Terry May here in Ohio, in between Cincinnati and Dayton, and I'm a new member with you guys, and
all right,
still trying to find my way around. I missed the, I think the call yesterday. I actually had a signing, so I was not able to get on the tour bus. But my question, getting into the trust work and some of this other work, are there some scripts and some marketing material to help with that process? So as I'm speaking with an attorney, what are you saying? Where is the value that we're bringing to the table? You know,
yeah.
I'm assuming, you know, saving time, you know, different things for them, but do we have any of that in the portal? Some of those scripts and stuff.
Yeah, great question. So I'm going to bring Laura up here in just a moment. So it's a little informal as far as scripts and things like that, but there's an amazing training as part of NBB and Laura Biewer Presents that gives you the language to discuss this level of service. So Laura, do you want to talk about your the available training and the way that a notary could use that to bring value to an attorney first?
So in Laura Biewer Presents, there's a 2.5-hour Zoom call. And what I do is help you understand who are your clients, how you're going to find them, what are the documents most commonly presented. I go through every single one of those documents on screen to help walk you through that. And then talk about some of the pricing strategies. So the reason that this is important is, as you said, the word value. You know, we're not the UPS store notaries. It's important for us, if we want to be the notary the next time as well, that they feel that the attorney feels that they're talking with a colleague, that you are interested, that their signer is really both of your clients, and that you are concerned that everything goes well for that. And you're concerned enough that proactively you already understand what these documents are about and how to introduce them. And I also talk about how to introduce them in LBP as well.
Okay.
I focus on living trusts in particular because that's the most common one. There's like a dozen different trusts out there,
Right.
but that's the one I focus on because that's the one I get hired for the most work. The value also comes that they wouldn't have to use their internal staff if they had an inside notary for this task. That person could be, because that person isn't just a notary in the office, they're probably doing quite a few other activities. So I could help be extra staff in that way to help them relieve internal staff. The other thing is they may not want to send internal staff to the home of the client or working after hours from the office after they've worked all day. So those are other ways that I help them. And then finally, when I'm at the table, even if the attorney is the one orchestrating the documents and signatures, I am listening and I'm paying attention to the instruction. And when I get to the document for notarization, I'm checking to see, did the signer pay attention and follow that instruction. So I'm a informal quality assurance for him at the end of the table. And when, because I have the knowledge, I see an inappropriate notarization, I can also alert the attorney to that potential issue for recording. So there are lots of ways that I can be of assistance, even when I'm at the attorney's office and the attorney's controlling or presenting at the moment. And it may start that way, but what has happened for me is my attorneys end up turning them loose to me and I end up doing the whole thing for them. It takes time for them to build that trust with you. And they build the trust starting with, they know, you know what they're talking about.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Terry, thanks for showing up. And I know that you're part of NBB, so there's a couple other questions or one other resource I want to make sure that you're tapping into. And I just want to add to what Laura said too. When you're working with attorneys, there's so many values in the eye of the beholder. So it's going to depend on the attorney you're working with. But most of the attorneys, especially in the estate planning realm, they're passionate about what they do because they know they make a difference to people.
Right.
And you'll experience this too whenever you do these appointments. There's a different energy around them. I love loan signings, but I think I love living trust appointments even more because the energy, there's this peace of mind experience there. But when you tap into that because when you tap into the attorney's dream, they want to make an impact. And utilizing your services and your expertise, they can double that impact because they can't be in two places at one time.
Right.
So maybe they can be helping somebody else or going out and finding more people to help instead of doing or gathering the signatures. And that's where your value can come in on that. And the other thing that I want to just mention is as part of Notary Business Builder, of course, you get the directory listing on Notary at notary.com. And that's extremely important because that is how behind the scenes here, Terry, like Laura, Jen, and myself and the entire faculty at NBB is working hard to get you in front of attorneys that are going to appreciate your services. And Notary is where we're sending them. So if you haven't done so already, get your Notary directory listing optimized, like at 100%.
Absolutely. I appreciate your help.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for being here. All right, guys, that's it. We are 4 minutes past the hour and Phil's call starts in 1 minute. So if you need the link to Phil's call, just go to notarycoach.com/TNT and scroll to the very bottom. You can click directly into his call on Zoom with no registration. Judy, Matt, thank you so much for being here with us again. I really appreciate your time. They'll be back with us next week as well. So if you haven't asked a question yet, start formulating that question now and bring it next week. Laura, thank you as well. I know you're busy teaching today. I really appreciate you being here. And thank you all for being here on a Tuesday, growing yourself and your business. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.